Believing we know what healthy eating is, that's actually the biggest obstacle to real change. The more confident we feel about how we eat, the harder it is to see what's actually standing in our way. And I've been there. I spent years eating what I truly believed was a pretty healthy diet. I'm smart, I read a lot, I cared about it. But eventually I realized it was my confidence and my commitment to the way I was eating that was standing in the way of change. And I've seen this is happening to so many people. I'm Dr. Ginny. I'm a psychologist, a health coach, and author of a best-selling book on healthy eating and weight loss. I've spent years cutting through the misinformation around food and weight to find what actually works predictably and reliably, including for women my age. Because we are wasting too much of our precious lives trying to figure out something that was never supposed to be so complicated. So if you're willing to consider that what you know about healthy eating might be part of the problem, this video is going to be for you. And it's worth understanding how that confidence got put there, because it didn't come out of nowhere. It's been reinforced our whole lives by our doctors, our fitness coaches, by nutrition guidelines and the media, even the grocery store. The information we've been getting our whole lives about what's healthy to eat has been shaped by industries that profit from our confusion. And so much of it is simply not true. Take the health food aisle. It's such a lie. We go there specifically to make good choices, not recognizing that aisle is full of engineered, low nutrition products dressed up as healthy. It's natural, it's heart healthy, it's organic. The food industry has spent decades and billions of dollars engineering the least nutritious foods to be as desirable as possible, and then marketing them quite deceptively as healthy. We end up feeling like the health food aisle is a safe choice, the labels feel trustworthy, our confidence feels earned. And we see those pretty packages, the health labels, and we know it tastes good, it's convenient, the package says it's healthy, it's natural. We want to believe it's healthy, so we do. This is the water we've been swimming in our whole lives. We're constantly receiving information about how to eat from every direction, and a lot of it is conflicting or just wrong. In these times, I feel it's become virtually impossible to see what's actually true about healthy eating. What do humans do naturally? We gravitate toward the information that confirms what we already want to believe. I'll never forget the moment I started seeing how I was both wanting change and defending the status quo at the same time. In my case, I was increasingly feeling like I needed a break from the way I was eating and drinking at night. It was too indulgent. It was interfering with my life in ways that were really upsetting me. So many nights I would wake up at like 3 a.m. feeling sick as my body tried to recover from the excess sugars and alcohol in my system. Lying there, wishing the toxins would leave my system so I could sleep, I would decide, I'm not going to do that. Just one day, I'm going to take one day off from this habit. But by the time the evening arrived, I would start feeling anxious and upset. Yes, I am going to have that food and drink. I had a hard day. People weren't nice to me. I deserve it. This is going on and on and on for years, and I'm feeling out of integrity. I'm feeling frustrated. I need to make a change. Okay, I'm not going to freak myself out. I'm going to let myself have the things. But first, I'm going to take 10 minutes to write down what I'm thinking and feeling. I'm just going to insert a moment of thinking and paying attention. And when I did that, one phrase kept showing up over and over in my thoughts. I deserve it. And that phrase started to bug me. What was I really saying? Did I only say I deserve this about things that were bad for me? Ouch. And I felt kind of embarrassed at how I was defending my old ways, even as I knew I wanted to change them. I felt out of integrity. But then I realized this is what our brains are designed to do, to keep our current habits running so we don't have to expend energy making changes. And if our environment was full of highly nutritious foods, it would work just fine. But it's not. So that same brain mechanism that's meant to protect us ends up protecting habits that aren't serving us. And what we do, we find ourselves repeating permission phrases. It's okay to have this because I'll make up for it tomorrow. It's okay, it's just a little, it's a special occasion. Things have been tough lately. And these permission phrases, they give us rationalizations for continuing to eat and drink the way we've been eating and drinking. So I'd love to know, what's your version of these permission thoughts? Do you have the same ones as me, or do you have different ones? Tell me in the comments. Just naming these thoughts lets you question them instead of automatically following them. What's your version of just a little or I deserve this? And I do want to pause on the just a little phrase because I think it's causing us more trouble than we realize. It did for me. It sounds very reasonable. It sounds balanced. It even sounds wise, right? But what I've noticed in myself and in so many women I work with, these just a little permissions tend to escalate. They snowball. One small exception makes the next one feel easier and the next one. It might start with a little juice in the sparkling water and a little sweet cream in my coffee, a little something sweet after dinner. But invisibly almost, it escalates until a little doesn't mean anything. When I finally sat down and got really honest with myself, I discovered more than a dozen of these permissions for a little something sweet. And though each one felt like no big deal at the time, it adds up. In these times, just a little can add up to more than our bodies can handle. It can add up to metabolic illness. And when we do catch ourselves having more exceptions than we intended, it's easy to feel like beating ourselves up. I did. But that doesn't actually help. What does help is understanding why this happens. There's actually a part of our brain that can't help but generate a reason for everything we do. Researchers call it the left brain interpreter, and it just fills in the gaps automatically. Why am I having this drink tonight when I promised I wouldn't? My brain's always going to find a reason that seems logical, even if it's not true. Because it's just a little, because it doesn't matter, because it's actually pretty healthy anyway. And we believe those reasons. They feel true because they came from inside our own head. And then we take it a step further. We find the nutritionist who tells us that wine is heart healthy. We follow the influencer whose approach conveniently fits exactly how we already want to eat. It's not accidental. You can always find a credentialed voice telling you what you want to hear. We don't just absorb the deception passively, we complete it from the inside. It makes sense that we participate in this deception because we've been surrounded by this our whole lives. I call it wishful nutrition. We stay convinced we're eating pretty healthy until we have really good reason for change. And then at some point, we get more concerned about the way we're starting to age. Maybe your mother develops dementia, or your doctor tells you your blood sugar's rising and you're pre-diabetic now. For some of us, we approach a milestone birthday and we find ourselves at a crossroads, realizing we don't like where the path we're on is leading. It becomes time to stop fooling ourselves. It's absolutely worth questioning what we learned about healthy eating, so we can recognize we've been overly confident about an eating approach that simply isn't giving our bodies what they actually need. When we can start to see the pattern of deception, how the world around us and our brain have been working together to believe what we want to believe, it's not about beating ourselves up. It's about finally having a chance to choose differently, to choose wisely. And the change really begins with something very simple, just noticing. Catching the permission thoughts brings them into conscious awareness, so they stop running automatically, and we can take charge of our eating choices again. So you can try this. Catch yourself going through your favorite litany of permission thoughts. It's okay, it's just a little, I deserve it. Just stop and notice them. Get curious. Wait, what did I just say? I deserve this. I usually say that when I want something that isn't good for me. That tiny pause of noticing can become the beginning of real change. It did for me and for many of the women I've worked with. You might start to notice which foods and drinks evoke those permission thoughts, and you might start to notice how those permissions escalate. Ooh, I had a permission earlier today and now I'm having one. And so many women start to find it deeply liberating to step out of the misinformation and the stress and confusion of trying to figure out what's true about eating and health. I've watched this over and over in my own life and in the women I've worked with. We stop chasing diets and we start applying a small set of clear guiding principles that work for our body instead. We discover what truly nourishes our body, and we experience a completely different kind of confidence in how we eat. A confidence that comes from our body repeatedly showing us how happy it is that we're giving it what it needs. And we start to experience something most of us have never felt around food before, a kind of ease and peace, a sense of integrity, an alignment between what we're eating and what we actually need. Now, if you're still with me, you're probably already seeing this differently. So please subscribe. Once you can see past healthy eating, the next question is what actually works? Stepping out of deception to find clear answers that actually work for your body, I call it wise eating, SimplyWise eating. And it's exactly what I help people do. It becomes straightforward to just eat wisely, to make your body happy in a way it may never have been before. And if you're curious, if you're ready to look really honestly at how you might be fooling yourself and how that might be standing in the way of your results, I created an eating self-assessment specifically to help with this. I'll put the link below. And if it gives you valuable insights and you'd like to talk with me about breaking through the lies and finally discovering how to eat simply and wisely, it'll show you how you can book a call with me. All right, keep it simple, keep it wise, and keep your spark alive.